Positioning, map awareness, creep score, mechanical skills.
Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the
Scrub,
nation attacked. Only the
positional pawg,
master of all four elements could stop them. But when
their team
needed him most, he vanished. 100 years passed and my
carry
and I discovered the new
positional pawg,
an airbender named Aang.
His third pounder.
And although his
mechanical
skills are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to
get good.
But I believe
Your scrubby ass
can save the world.
Greetings, fellow Predecessor enjoyers. Appreciate you checking out the video. Today I want to go over one of, if not the most important mechanics in the game that from my experience is the biggest thing separating good players from great players. This is how and where to position your hero during fights. There's a number of reasons why this is important, and I'm going to go over each one, but quickly, I just want to thank you so much for everyone who's helped me pass my first sub milestone this week. I had set a few goals and time frames for them before starting YouTube to track my progress and smashed the first goal 3.5 months early, so it helps me a lot to keep bringing these videos to y'all. One more super quick thing is I was initially trying to stick to a video per week, but with my baby being due this month, I don't anticipate my schedule becoming any more lenient on time. So probably expect a video more like every week and a half, because I want to make them quality and entertaining to watch, but to be honest, they aren't very easy to make, so I hope you can bear with the relatively slow upload intervals as of now. Hopefully no one's noticed, but if you have, in the name of transparency, I just want to throw that out there. Barring any major exceptions, I'll be able to maintain that schedule reliably. But without further ado,
Let's get cracking!
So getting into what positioning is, you first have to understand the heroes that you're both teamed up with and facing off against, as this is going to help your decision making by knowing what your opponent has up their sleeve. Unlike other roles and mechanics, positioning your hero and predecessor is vital to improving in literally every role and on every hero. But because there's so many variables, every situation is going to be a little bit different. That's why it's important to understand the heroes you're facing, as well as what help, if any, you can expect from your team to complement proper positioning for your hero and their kits. The main benefits of proper positioning are that if you're all on the same page, your team's both fighting and escaping potential becomes much higher and easier to coordinate by properly placing your heroes in their most advantageous spots. It will also help you stay alive longer and dish out more damage in team fights, giving you the upper hand over the mere peasants of lesser positioning power. Let's take Morgish and Gideon as two examples of heroes that both play in the same lane, but have completely different positioning priorities because of their kits. This way you can understand my point a little bit better too. The biggest difference in why they have such different spots to ideally be in is due almost exclusively to their kit design and respective mobility differences. They both have a mobility skill, but they're again quite different. While Gideon's ability is objectively better for actually being mobile, it does offer a little utility too by letting your teammates travel through the portal after you. Morgish, on the other hand, has an objectively better ability in the utility category because it's going to give her a boost of movement speed, which is what makes it mobility related. But it's also going to let you pass through other enemy players, which is very beneficial if you're facing some super thick boys on the other team who like to body block, as well as, arguably most importantly, gaining a nice chunk of health back with every enemy hit with the ability. This means that naturally, because of the differences in their kit, Morgish players are forced to play closer to their opponents in order to be most effective. On top of this, her abilities are very easy to land and pretty straightforward. To balance this, they make her sacrifice some mobility so she stays in line with the other casters, because if she maintained her easy to land abilities with something like Gideon's teleport, she'd easily be the strongest mid laner in the game. So basically what I'm saying here is be aware of what your hero is capable of and position yourself accordingly. With Morgish, you have to be extra careful when engaging in a 1v1, as if anybody else shows up while you're fighting, you're definitely cooked. She's ideally played with the help of teammates and sticking close by to them, just behind your frontliners like Rampage, Zarus, or any other tanky heroes designed to soak up damage and shut down the enemy. While playing someone like Gideon requires more thought into landing his powerful abilities, but is one of the hardest heroes to actually lock down and be able to get a kill on in the whole game between his teleport and the blink. I'll give a few more examples like these in a minute, but the most important thing to understand when deciding on where to position your hero is knowing where everyone is and what they're capable of before engaging. If you're still new and you're not sure what heroes are capable of doing what, I would recommend going through each of them in their hero tab in between your games, as well as noting why and how you died to them whenever it may happen. Shameless plug, but you can also check out my detailed hero overview series where I cover everything about each hero and how they operate. If you're playing a tankier hero, especially one with CC, you'll want to be positioning yourself in front of your squishier heroes like the ADC or the mid laner. This will not only protect them from many different abilities and auto attacks from the enemy, but it's also going to make it easier for you to disrupt and absorb many of the enemy's most valuable abilities, therefore leaving your team open to a retaliation while they have their best tools on cooldown. This also means, as a tankier frontline, you should be preserving your high impact abilities, which you'll kind of learn what they are with experience. A few big ones are Rampage's Rock, Richter's Hook, Steel's anything, support stun, things that have the ability to change a team fight. Don't just whip out your Rampage Rock and yeet it at the first thing that moves in front of you. This is going to leave you open for something like a Gideon ult while it's on cooldown. This goes for all of your abilities really, but I want to stress how important ability management is when combined with your overall positioning. Another example for what I'm talking about is if you have your hero with a high mobility skill like Fang Mao. Whenever you find yourself in a situation where you don't have to use your dash as an engagement, you should prioritize reserving it where either you get counter ganked or they decide to blink away, or otherwise escape some other way. While kills are important, staying alive is more important. So reserving your movement abilities for situations where it's life or death is highly advised, and rarely would I recommend using them offensively.
No, don't do it. Please don't do it. Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the... No.
Oh no, it can't be! Is that the consequences of my actions?
If you're a squishier character like a caster or an ADC, you want to rely heavily on your range and your tankier teammates to protect you when engaging. It's very risky to fight alone as one of these heroes unless you're Giga fed. Ideally, you'll want to poke your opponents with just the tip of your basic attack and maintain a safe distance at all times. Positioning these heroes is vital due to their low health and high damage. This means, however, that you'll be very high, if not first on the list of targets for the enemy, so rely heavily on your team for help and always have that escape plan in the back of your mind. Another thing to note for positioning is your pathing decisions. Countless times do I see heroes make easily avoidable pathing decisions that lead to their death, or a blink that didn't need to be used. A common example is the carry coming back to lane from Fountain with the enemy duo pushed up to their tower. Instead of taking an extra 4 seconds to take the longer path behind tower, they instead come out through their jungle fog wall and try and just squeeze in between the duo and the tower, but inevitably get stun locked and deleted because they had to save those extra couple seconds. Another common one is mid laners jumping down from the river fog wall without having proper vision, instead of taking the safer, slightly longer path around the side to check if the buff is still there and safe to take. Predecessor is a team game, but so many times do I see Salty Steve start raging because you didn't teleport across the map to help with their 4th 1v1 against their opponent who's 3 levels and 2 items up on them. The reality of what leads to many of these situations though is either lack of understanding the lesser explained mechanics like positioning and ability management, or overall bad game sense and decision making. However, Predecessor is quite balanced overall in the MOBA genre, so the vast majority of fights really do come down to the driver of the hero and much less on someone being quote-unquote overpowered. One last point on positioning is to always start playing more passively and paranoid once your tower or towers go down. If you're not able to freeze your lane, rotate to someone else and help out, or wait until the minions push back into your side of the map.
Never, ever
go past the midway point of the map without teammates until you're an experienced enough player. Playing from behind is hard, but again, the main reason positioning is important is because it's going to help prevent you from dying, which is the most valuable asset for yourself and your team. So if you do find yourself being bullied, as painful as it may be, stay back, like way back. And don't, under any circumstances, continue to feed them unnecessary kills. Eventually, the game's going to evolve into a culmination of team fights and objective plays, which is what's going to decide the game. Not because you got bullied in your lane for the first 15 minutes and didn't get any help. So that should just about wrap this one up. This one was a little shorter, but it's still super important to understand and think about. So if you enjoyed or learned something, I'd appreciate the typical YouTube jazz. It's free and helps me out a lot. If I missed anything, or you have any questions about something I didn't cover as well, just drop a comment and I'd be happy to help out with any questions or feedback. If you want to watch me play live as I'm gathering gameplay footage in between videos, I'd love to chat with you on my streams that I do both on YouTube and Twitch. Link and schedule in the description. Thanks so much, and I'll see you all on the battlefield.